Good evening, it's Laura Verbeek from Quill and Note, Stampin' with Laura. I couldn't sleep this evening, so I thought I would make a couple of cards and I would share this one with you. So tonight I'm going to show you how to use our die cut and embossing machine. These are examples of die cuts. This is from the set called Poinsettia Dies, and it comes in a little package like this. All the dies are in here. So these are the ones that I've pulled out. So if you want to, in some of my other videos, I've used punches. This is another way to punch out or make impressions into your paper. So this is Stampin' Up's new die cutting machine. It's really neat. It folds up. It's a little loud, sorry. So it's nice and compact. Looks like this. So when you're ready to use it, you open it up and we'll get started. So the first thing I want to show you is how to cut, or sorry, how to emboss a piece of paper. This is an embossing folder. It's a 2-pack. Looks like this. Got these nice little dots on it. It's a 2-pack called Wrapped in Texture. And so this is one of them. So we're going to place our paper into the machine, or into the folder just like this, and close it up. And then we have these plates. And the nice thing about these plates is they're all numbered. So this is a number 3, this is the number 1, and this one has all of the recipes for everything that you need when you're using the machine. So for this one, we're going to put down the number 1, and then a number 3. Then we're going to place our embossing folder in with the folded part going into the machine, and place a second number 3 plate on top. Then we're just going to turn the crank. This is going to slide through. Pops when it's finished. I'll take that out. Let me just set this to the side for a moment. Here we have our piece of paper that is now all textured. It's lovely. Put that off to the side. Next, we're going to use the embossing machine again. This time we're going to use it to cut. So this time we're going to be using this plate, which is a magnetic one. And you can see it's got some cuts in it, and that's just fine. And then I'm going to put the number 2 there because these are kind of thin dies. I'm going to put this number 5 on here. Then we're going to be grabbing this beautiful paper color. I'm going to show you how to place all of these down. So I've already cut some out of this one, so I like to use as much of the paper as possible. And they've got the raised edge side wants to be going down. So this would cut out just a lovely flower. This is an embossing piece. So this one can go inside of this. So once I cut, you'll see what we're going to get. So you just have to line this up. You have to figure out which one goes where. I think it's like this. Yep. Pop that down, and the magnetic plate holds it in place. Same with this one. I have another embossing one that goes in there as well. So Flip that over, line that up. Perfect. And then we've got a couple of these little guys. They're going to cut out and emboss. Try and use up as much of the paper as possible. So the color of this paper is called Blackberry Bliss. It's really nice deep purple. All right, and I'm gonna grab our top one, which is the number 3. Place this on here. Just trying to keep everything in the frame for you. So now I'll bring the machine back in. Oops, paper got caught there. Should probably just cut off this excess. Die moved a little bit. There we go. So again, we're just going to crank this through and you'll see how this one works. There we go. Move our machine out. You can see, we'll just peel off that. So to cut out these beautiful shapes. And now, as you can see, we've got this flower, but it's also embossed. This is so we can make a nice big layer to make the flower pop out a bit more. Okay, so next, we're going to grab our card base. I'm using a thick Whisper White that I've just, so it comes in a regular letter size sheet, so 8.5 by 11. And all I've done is used my paper trimmer to cut it in half, score it, and then we have 2 cards out of 1 sheet. So when you do your cuts, it'll be, if you have an 8.5 by 11 sheet, you can cut it right down the middle, either horizontally or vertically. I cut it so that I can have a card that sits like this or a card that sits like this. So that means I cut it at 4 1/4 and then scored it at 5 1/2. Then I have some crumb cake. It's a nice light brown color, and I've cut this at 5 1/4 and 4. So it's just a little bit smaller than the other sheet. This is also at 5 1/4 by 4, and we're just going to use part of this. So I've already got the piece cut that I want, so this is the right size. The other piece of paper that we're going to be using is this really pretty designer series paper. So designer series paper comes in 2 different sizes depending on which ones you buy. It either comes in a package of 6 by 6 pieces of paper or in a package of 12 by 12. So this paper came from a designer series paper package that goes with the poinsettias, and each designer series paper has something on one side and something on the other. So this is a 12 by 12 sheet that I cut 1 inch off of. This is one side and this is the other side, and you can use either one. So I've cut this at 4 inches across and it's 1 inch wide. And we're going to be putting our card together now. So I want to give this piece of cardstock a bit of texture. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to kind of rough up the edge. edge of my snips. I want to give the edge a bit of texture. Be able to see this edge a little bit more sitting up against the white. Just dragging the edge of your snips, your scissors, along the side of the cardstock. So this is going to be our bottom layer. Then we're going to be adding this piece along close to the bottom. And then this piece is going to be going on top. And then we're going to be assembling our bliss paper. Oops, we don't need both of these. We'll put that off to the side. I like to give my flower a little bit of bling. So I've used this in other videos. It's a Wink of Stella. It is a pen that's got silver glitter in it, and it's really nice. You can just give it a squeeze. If you do that, make sure you do it off of your project. Otherwise, you might end up with a blob of it. And here I'm just going to go over the embossed veins quickly. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to give a little bit of glitter to our flower petals. I'm going to do it on all 3 layers. It's a nice, quick, and easy way to add to a card. I use my Wink of Stella a lot. It's our tiniest one right here. I'm going to put a bit of different bling in the middle, so I'm not going to bother using my Wink on there. Put that off to the side, and we're going to let these just dry for a moment off. So you have a couple of different options. You can use glue dots. I really like this glue. And then we also have our glue runner. There's 2 different ones. There's called Stampin' Seal and Stampin' Seal Plus. This is the Stampin' Seal Plus. It's a darker blue, and it's going to be a better hold, so I'm going to use that today. So the key to this is just drag this across your page and sort of lift, and then drag and lift. This will be a nice strong hold. When I have embossed, I either want to use the Stampin' Seal or the Tombow Multi Liquid Glue. Just to show you something different, I will use the glue. Unless I'm doing dots, I like to use the broader end, and then just do a little squeeze and drag. And then across the bottom, just move your glue around. The nice thing about using the liquid glue is that it's a little bit more forgiving when you place it down on your card. You'll have a bit of time to maneuver it around before it sticks permanently. It is a nice glue, though. It does stick very, very well. Hopefully I've got that centered on there. Looks pretty good. Okay, and I've got a little tag here that I already had ready, but this is just a piece of Whisper White that I've cut into a little flag. So this guy is going to go down here. And I'm going to center him just off of there like that. This time I'm going to use my glue dots, or sorry, my dimensionals. So the large ones look like this, and there's also some mini ones for smaller projects. These are thicker. Just kind of pop up. Wherever you put them, they're going to pop up that element of your card. Just peel off these guys. So then that's popped up a little bit. Now, we're going to be putting all of this together, but first I want to give our flower a little bit more pop up from the page. So this is my bone folder, and I'm going to use the edge of this to drag and curl the bottom layer of my flower up. You're going to get a little bit of glitter on your fingers from the Wink of Stella. So now this is popped up. I'm not going to do that with my middle layer, but I am going to do it a little bit with my tiny one here, just to give a little bit of dimension to the flower. Now I'm going to use my liquid glue again, and this time I'm going to use the pointy end. So I'm just going to put a small drop there, another drop there. Take this guy, place him down there, and our tiny guy, place him down there and give it a good push. So now, see how much more dimension our flower has compared to, I've got another one cut out over here. This one doesn't have the Wink of Stella on it yet, but this is pretty, but this is much prettier. And then to put it down, this has enough popping up, so I'm not going to use dimensionals. I'm just going to glue it down. But actually, before I do that, I'm going to adhere this to this. And again, I'm going to use my liquid glue, but I'm going to use the broad tipped end. It's pretty straight. A little easier to push down when I don't have my big flower on the front. Now we're going to switch back to the fine tipped end. And this time I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the middle layers. They're not poking up. And then I'm going to put the areas that are I'm trying to push this down without pushing down our middle one here. We got some pretty dimension on that. Perfect. Now, the last thing to add to this card is some embellishments. These ones are the iridescent pearls. Really pretty. They've got a purpley, blue, greenish tinge to them. So I'm going to take this larger one and I'm going to put it right in the middle of our flower. And I think we're going to add a couple of the smaller ones. A little glue on my fingers there. And 1, 2, 3. Four. Maybe one more. 5. And there you have it. We've got a card all ready to go. I'll show you a couple of examples of some other ones that I made with this same set. So this is another one with a different embossed background. It's some trees, and this is another one of our embellishments that's made just for this set. This one and this one. So if you'd like to win these 2 cards today, leave a comment in the after the video and give it a like and a share, and I will do a draw on Saturday for somebody to win these 2 cards, and I'll pop them in the mail to you. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.